Let's go back to the conference. What are the failures? What were the successes? What would you do differently? What would you wish had happened that didn't happen?
Well, I think this is hopefully going to be a fairly regular.
Is this an annual?
It's not yet annual. We are going to do the next one probably 1 year from now, in February of 2011. So we're already beginning to think about the planning. I think there was a lot that we're proud of, and so in terms of successes, I think getting the administration to send a high-level official, the National Security Advisor, Jim Jones, came and he made a commitment that the Obama administration would be represented at every future J Street conference. I think the level of participation of foreign countries, the King of Jordan sent a really wonderful video that's on our website. I'd urge people to see. It's a wonderful statement about the need for peace. So those are some of the successes. I think I'm very disappointed that the Israeli government essentially boycotted the conference. I think that the inability to deal with criticism and an open conversation is a real problem, and especially for diplomats like ambassadors. I wish that there were more engagement. I wish they had come to the conference. I wish that we had give and take in a respectful manner. So I'd say that's a failing. And I think that our lobbying, I would have loved to have had, we then had a lobby day following the conference, and we sent 700 or 800 people up to the Hill. I'm disappointed that there isn't more concrete for us to be lobbying for. Our generalized message to members of Congress and to senators was support the two-state solution, support peace, be active, speak out in your community, but there wasn't a tangible request because there's nothing tangible happening. If there were funding or if there were a new peace conference or some sort of clear step, it just would feel more tangible. So I think we need to give people the sense that they are advancing the ball, not just coming and talking and participating. I hope that the creation of the locals will give people a sense that there's something to take back to their communities, that it isn't just an event, it's part of a movement. We're building something, we're moving towards an objective, and there's things you can do back home. There's takeaways from a conference like that.
Do you see yourself as a counterweight to AIPAC? Is that the whole purpose of forming J Street?
No, we don't actually, and we are very explicit that we're not anti-anybody. What we are.
Well, not anti, but counterweight.
No, I think that there's stuff that AIPAC does right. There are things that we would support that they would support.
What do they do right?
So, for us, the U.S.-Israel relationship is very important. We are pro-Israel as well as being pro-Palestinian, and we believe in the concept of a national home for the Jewish people. I think it's remarkable what AIPAC has done. And I'm talking now as a technician, as somebody who works in Washington. The ability to create a base of support for this, you have to read the textbook. If you're going to learn how to do lobbying, you have to learn from what they've done.
Do you plan to do as AIPAC does to be able to back candidates and put some weight behind them? Is that one of the missions?
Well, interestingly enough, AIPAC, despite having the PAC at the end of AIPAC, is not a political action committee.
Right.
They actually can't fund candidates. We did set up a PAC, so called J Street PAC, which is legally independent of the other parts of our operation, but we felt it was extremely important to be able to back candidates. And so we endorse candidates. We do raise money through the PAC for them, specifically candidates who will take a leadership on these issues. Just last week there was a letter circulated among, I think, 54 members of Congress signed it, urging that the blockade of Gaza be lifted. Candidates and members of Congress who take steps like that and who go publicly on the record deserve our support. And we need to have a vehicle for showing them that this is a position that has a great deal of support, and they aren't going to be hurt, they're actually going to be helped.
Are there any big battles in the next election cycle that you see J Street getting involved in?
Well, I think a number of the candidates that we've supported in the 2008 cycle are really vulnerable to the inevitable backlash that comes in the midterm elections. I've been in this town, I've been involved in politics now for over 25 years, so it's very easy to see that the 2010 election is going to be extremely rough for some of these swing district Democrats. And that's, a lot of them were people that we supported in 2008, and they're going to have a tough time in 2010. So we're going to be actively trying to work for them.
Are there any Republicans you know?
We backed 2 Republicans in the last cycle. We're looking for Republicans, so if anybody has any ideas, we would love to be more bipartisan and nonpartisan. This doesn't have to be a partisan issue. The notion that it's in America's interest to help this conflict end, the notion that this is the bipartisan national interest should allow us to find some Republicans. Charles Bustani is somebody I'll just mention because he deserves credit for his bravery. He spoke at our conference. He is a renewed endorsed candidate on our PAC. He speaks his mind on this issue despite what his leadership would like him to not say. And he deserves a lot of credit. And there are Republican members of Congress who agree with us, but there's even more fear among Republicans than among Democrats to come out and say it. So I say to all of you, I imagine many of you are either liberal Democrats or beyond, and I would just say that it's important sometimes to put some of this partisanship behind us and to actually show support for Republicans, because if we can build a bipartisan base for peace and for a rational foreign policy, I think we'll all be in a much better place.